Hello and welcome to Zoo Radio. I'm Colin Daly and each week I'll be taking you on a guided tour of the zoo. We have been granted exclusive behind-the-scenes access to all the major exhibits, as well as a unique insight into the residents from the people that know them best. This series has been recorded using the very latest in three-dimensional binaural recording techniques and is best listened to through a set of stereo headphones.
So I'm Sally, I'm a trainee keeper of birds and cover keeper of the Tropical House. I've been working here about 10 months now. We're just inside the Tropical House now. It's very hot and humid in here. We are about to have a tropical thunderstorm, so we've got some lightning flashes and you can hear the claps of thunder. So it does rain in here rains in here regularly through the day to keep it natural for the animals, and it helps keep it humid in the rainforest. As we walk through, it is about to start raining shortly over the pond, and in the pond we've got a terrapin and 2 ducks called ringed teal. So these are small-sized ducks. There's a more colourful male, he's grey-brown. The female's more of a brown colour. And up in the tops of the trees we've got a green iguana. She's a female, she's about 3 foot long. She likes sitting up in the windows where she gets all the sunlight coming in. It's a good basking spot for her. So you can hear the rain falling at the moment. So it does rain roughly about every 15 minutes for a few minutes at a time. And as we move along the pathway that goes through all the trees, we've got a couple of 2-toed sloths. So these are nocturnal animals, they're sleeping at the moment. They're more active at night when they go looking for their food, but they do sleep roughly around 16 hours a day. They curl up into a ball while they're sleeping to help keep warm, and they hang upside down from their long claws. One of them's just waking up at the moment and is having a look around. They are quite curious animals. They like looking at the people that walk through.
And is this a male and a female sloth?
We've got 2 males in here.
Because I was speaking to Nick Masters, the vet, and he said you had a little problem with the quarantine and he had a surprise with the sloths. Has that been sorted out now?
Yeah, they are quite difficult to sex, so we've had to send off hair samples, and the DNA has shown that these are actually 2 males.
And is that what you were expecting?
No, we thought we had a male and a female.
Okay.
Okay, and as we walk along the path, it does get dark. We've got a bat cave in here. So there's some Seba's fruit bats. They're a very small species of fruit bat. They're only 2 to 3 inches tall. They are quite difficult to see. These are nocturnal as well, so they are sleeping at the moment. They do hide in all the dark corners. But as you walk along, you do need to look very carefully up above you, and hopefully you'll see 1 or 2 roosting around. So they do tend to fly around when there's people in here, which does scare a lot of the children and the females. They tend to move out quickly, some of them screaming.
Are you sure you're not making this up?
It does happen. We have a big man with a shaved head go out because he was scared of them before as well. We've got an enclosure in here as well. There's a lit up window. There's some hissing cockroaches in here. These are big cockroaches, about 3 inches long. These are settled in really well and they've been breeding lots. So there's lots of babies in there in all the substrate as well.
They're quite scary looking, those fellas.
They are. When you disturb them, they hiss at you by shaking their wings over their rumps.
I don't think I'll disturb them. I think we'll leave those well alone and bravely run away from them.
So the rain's stopped falling now, but this will come along again every 15 minutes. This is when these 2 ducks on the side, these are the ringed teal. Once it stops raining, they tend to go back into the water and have a swim around. There's not been any problems with them with the terrapin. They just swim around quite happily together. And the terrapin at the moment, he's just out on the log. He comes out of the water every now and again. He dries himself off. He also enjoys the shower coming down from the rain.
What kind of heat is it in here? It's amazingly humid.
At the moment, it's about 38 degrees Celsius, but you've got about an 80% humidity as well. So it is quite overwhelming when you're walking through. But this is how it is in the actual South American rainforest, so we tried to imitate it as closely as we could.
And even the floor coverings as well. You've got like the natural woods and the forest.
Yeah, it's mainly all compost and bark chippings, and you've got all the leaves that naturally fall down and break down in the litter.
And are they real mushrooms they're growing on the...?
Yeah, because it's so damp and humid in here, all the mushrooms are growing naturally.
Wow. And you've got some exotic plants in here as well.
Yeah, there's quite a few different ones. We've got the bromeliads, which grow up in the trees. They tend to sit in the forks of branches and they just grow naturally from there. They don't grow in the soil. And we've got some strangler fig trees, which if you move just around the corner, you'll see there's some branches wrapping around tree trunks. And what these do, they grow around the tree and they're like a parasite. They'll take all the tree's nutrients and kill the tree inside, so that you end up with just the meshwork of the fig tree branches and no actual tree inside them.
Wow, that kind of looks man-made. That's amazing. It's like a chain almost.
Yeah, well, these do grow naturally in all humid rainforests. And we've got a snake enclosure as well over at the end. We do actually have 2 snakes in here. See the boa constrictors climbing around on the branches at the moment. He's nearly 6 foot long. They can grow 6 to 12 feet long, so he could possibly double his size. But he's the more active of the 2 snakes in here. The other one tends to just hide away. We've got a Brazilian rainbow boa. At the moment, she's just hiding behind the fork in the tree, but she coils up and just hides away in the tiniest of places. But she's 4 foot long.
Are you sure she hasn't escaped?
Now, if you do look carefully, you will see her. She does hide underneath the rocks, but she does camouflage in very well. But she's 4 foot long. She can grow up to about 8 foot as well, so they could both possibly double their size, what they are now.
And is this a relatively new exhibit, this one?
Yes, it opened in September. Liz Hurley did the big opening day.
And do you? Is it a guided tour you have to have around here? Because it's all an open exhibit. There's no cages as such, apart from on the snakes, I'm glad to say.
Yeah, we do guided tours throughout the day. We do public tours and school tours. That is the only. We don't have an open house at the moment where people can just walk through. We tend to just do guided tours. That way, people get to see all of the animals. Because otherwise, you could quite easily walk around and not see any of them. They like to hide away.
And is there a fee for this tour? Or?
No, it is free tickets. You pick them up from the information centre. We do tours every 1 or 2 hours, depending on the day. It's every hour at weekends. And then we take groups of 20 people around, just because then it's a nice small group. They can all stick together and hear what you're saying during the tours.
Brilliant. OK, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Capuchin monkeys are threatened in the wild due to habitat deforestation, but the biggest threat is live capture for the illegal pet trade. Brown capuchins have been kept by Twycross since 1963, black howlers since 1970, Saki monkeys from 1975, and red howler monkeys since 1984. Howler monkeys eat root vegetables, tomatoes, pawpaw, courgette, fennel, aubergine, shaved brambles, young hawthorn and green bananas. People think howler monkeys look sad, but they don't have expressions like us. In fact, their sad expression is actually a relaxed face. When scent marking, female bush dogs will urinate while doing a handstand against a tree. The first Asiatic lion cub born to Kamal and Kara was Jadzia, a female born in September 2002. Less than 250 survive in the Gir forest. Twycross Zoo kept tigers from 1967 till 2002. Our tigers had many babies together and have now gone to different zoos to maintain genetic diversity. None of the big cats at Twycross Zoo are fed live animals. It is actually illegal to do so. All occasionally have a starved day to clear their gut. Sometimes our lions stalk the cows in the neighbouring field, whom they can see, smell and hear from their enclosure.
Okay, my name's Mark Jeremy and I'm a cover keeper on the Hooves and Carnivores section. I've only worked here for about 4 months now.
Okay, and which animals are we looking at today?
We're now looking at the meerkats.
And can you describe me a typical day's work looking after the meerkats?
Well, in the morning I'll check them first thing, make sure they're all there, and then clean them out by washing out the house, giving them fresh bedding and fresh water. In the evening I will make sure the paddock's clean and give them their food.
And can you describe the little fellas for us, please?
Well, we've got 3 of them. They're fairly small. They spend a lot of time digging. Quite often one of them will be watching out for aerial predators. This is a natural behaviour that they do. They do climb a little bit. They'll sit up on some of the tree stumps.
And can we just describe what they've got in their enclosure here? It's like a walled enclosure. The wall's probably about 5 foot high. Is that just to stop them escaping?
Yes, it's keeps them in. It's got a slight overhang on it. Then down the bottom there we have some sand. This gets nice and hot for them in the summer. Obviously these guys are from the desert, so they quite like their sand and digging around in that. There's some rocks which they also sit on and sunbathe. And most of the area is grass with a few bushes to give them a bit of shelter should they need it.
And do they eat the grass at all? Or?
No, they'll eat mostly carnivores, so they'll eat bugs, and we feed them mice and chicks in the zoo, but in the wild they'll also eat snails, snakes and scorpions and things.
Okay, so what made you become a keeper then?
Oh, that's a good question. I've always been very interested in animals. I think the zoo work took my fancy because of all the different types and species of animals that I get to look after.
And what's the best and possibly the worst part of your job, would you describe? Because normally it's the animals is the best bit and the mucking out's the worst bit. Is it different for your case?
Well, to be honest, there's not many parts of the job that I really don't like. I don't mind getting dirty and sweaty and things, but working with the animals is a great pleasure, yes.
It was the elephant keepers that didn't like the mucking out so much.
Well, I think they produce more than most animals.
Is that the elephants or the keepers?
Probably the elephants, maybe both.
And do you have a favourite section? Or?
To tell you the truth, I like all the animals, all for different reasons though. I like these meerkats because they're very can be playful, inquisitive, and they look very content most of the day.
Has there been any amusing stories you can tell us?
Well, I don't know about recently, but I remember someone telling me before I started that there was a radio call over lunch that someone had stolen a meerkat, and all the keepers were rushing around trying to find these meerkats, searching through cars and things as it was leaving. When someone finally decided to check the enclosure, all the meerkats were there. It turned out someone had stolen a fluffy meerkat from the gift shop.
Not quite as important then. Brilliant. I don't know if they would make such a good pet, really.
Apparently in South Africa and Namibia, where they're from, some people do keep them as pets to keep the snake population down. But I think in England it's not such a good idea.
Well, I've actually got 2 normal cats and they've destroyed my house, so I don't know if a meerkat would be any better. Okay, brilliant. Thanks a lot for your time.
No problem, thank you.
Marmosets have claws which they use to gouge sap from trees. Tamarins do not do this because they have nails, not claws. When the dominant male woolly monkey knows that one of his females is fertile, he can become very hostile to zoo visitors. All of the canid species at Twycross Zoo are decreasing in the wild, although only bush dogs are officially classed as endangered. In 1992, the bush dogs at Twycross produced a litter of 10 pups, which is a world record for the species. In Twycross, there are 3 species of spider monkeys, 5 marmoset species, 6 tamarin species, and many of them very endangered in the wild.
You've been listening to the Zoo Radio podcast. Please like and subscribe to get the latest episodes.